The Surface Laptop 2 seems like an anomaly in 2018. Why would a Surface line that prides itself on being cutting-edge Windows innovate backwards back to the clamshell laptop design? And more importantly, why do so many people love it? Why do I find myself coming back to this laptop in a mobile-dominated world? Well, when you think laptops, you think 2008, clunky, unwieldy, heavy, the search for any and every outlet like an umbilical cord. And courtesy of the Macbook Air and the advent of ultrabooks, the Surface Laptop 2 in 2018 finally perfects what it means to be a true representation and embodiment of a core operating system with productivity. Turns out, there's a myriad of a laptop can write, things so subtle or incomprehensible that you won't even notice, and that's part of the magic. Dare I say it, the Surface Laptop 2 is the best laptop of 2018 because it just works. For those looking for a spec breakdown, we have the Surface Laptop 2 first impressions here. After spending so much time with this laptop, this video reviews the standout features that continue to draw me in, and the history of Windows, and why a classic laptop is such a stunning success, even in a mobile-first world. First, let's get started with the keyboard. The Surface Laptop 2 is the antithesis of two-in-ones. It's just the one that we need. Before we begin, let's talk about computing in 2018 and 2019. It's an all-out turf war for manufacturers, and it feels like they're literally innovating backwards. They bring back so many quote-unquote innovations, and no matter how hard, nothing beats the feel of a real laptop keyboard. We solved typing years ago, and here we are, at the edge of form factors and tablets looking back for design innovation. You know what beats two thumbs in typing? Well, how about having all 10 of your fingers instead of cursing autocorrect? The Surface keyboard is the best chiclet keyboard I've ever typed on. The keys have a very subtle bounce, with just the right amount of give before a full key press. The key distance is perfect, with no weird key placements like the newest Razer Blade 2018. It flows, it bounces, it jives. When I'm typing, it feels like a boxer in his prime, Creed juking around the ring, able to type easily and in the zone, the right bounce and feel. And I've typed for years on Surface Book keyboards, and as I said in the Surface Book 2 review, those keys were raised a tad too high for my liking, where you have to completely press with force to press a key down. There's enough give versus the butterfly keys that feel as thin as paper that takes some adjusting to. I like old MacBook keyboards, and I shouldn't have to adjust. And type covers completely fall flat versus the Surface Laptop keyboard. End of story. Now I can't stress how nice Alcantara lining feels. This is the first of many subtle innovations where laptops always focused on keystrokes, distance, bounce, backlighting. Nobody ever thought about the palm rest? Immediately, upon first use, you notice the softness, the warmth, and the comfortable, almost pleather feel on your palms. Almost like you've neglected your palms while typing for years. Yes, there is a beauty in an all-aluminum cutout build and the magnesium slate build of the Surface Book, but it's cold. Cold on your hands, and you've never minded it before, and you've never thought about it until now. This is why this is the first device I pick up when I have to write a long email, essay, or blog. And if you're a student, author, blogger, or email master, this is a laptop you'll find most comfortable. To sum up, how the R&D and focus of the Surface team got right in this keyboard, the spacing, travel, bounce, comfort, spread, and feel. Now next, the Surface Laptop gets right the form factor, finish, design, and weight. Weight matters, even if that's not the first thing that comes to mind in laptops. But this matters first for my weak forearms, but mainly in everyday usability in devices we use every day. This is the main difference we look at, why we pick up our phone versus our iPad for daily briefings. So let's weigh in, literally. The Surface Laptop strikes the right balance of weight that you're happy to carry around and use in any situation. Yes, the Razer Blades and the Surface Books focus on power and portability, but really, they weigh too much to be an everyday laptop, which is where 90% of your usage comes from. Believe me, as a power user, I'll get buff for horsepower, mainly to keep my job and don't mind the weight. But having the right weight and just the right size in the industry-dominated 13-inch across screen is crucial for everyday use. And let's not forget the moments when you're not at your nice office desks. I'm talking coffee tables or lapability in transit and even in bed right before you sleep. I'm surprised, for all their elegance and tech devices, how much they don't advertise how the product will look even when lying down, and the usability there. I've tried to plaster an iPad in my face, like a post-apocalyptic world in WALL-E. There's a silly tablet spider holders. This is what's wrong with the mobile revolution. A laptop works in many of these situations. I'm in bed, and this L-shaped laptop is going on my chest, and its weight is light enough not to leave an imprint. It's a perfect use case and a form I've used since the 90s. Now have fun with all your tablet and creaking phone arms. The design is so simple and elegant, it hurts how beautifully crafted this is. Flashback to the nightmares of laptops and Windows at its dominance. Old, heavy, crinkly plastic screen with edge bleed, bulky, loud, sounding like a vacuum cleaner. Crumbs inside the F, the J keys don't work. You don't know why the QWERTY keys stopped working. Oily, dismal battery life like it's on life support. Once you unplug the power cord, the laptop dies. If you dropped it, the floor would break. Slow, loading, you're not sure if your dial-up or your mom told you not to pick up the phone. It's slow. It's the 90s, but you wouldn't have it any other way. Do you really think there wasn't any room to improve? No wonder why computing took so many fronts away from laptops. Phones, phablets, tablets, PDAs, iPhones. A light, premium design with magnesium alloy finish, ultrabook footprint and status, mending design, fashion and builds, all in bold colors, even back in black. I know we don't outwardly say we want something aesthetically beautiful, but we don't know things we want until we see them. Looking at all the years Macbook got this right. Build quality, balance, no creaks, no give, press anywhere and there isn't a hint of a plastically cheap finish. No cost-cutting measures, not a screw in sight. Laser etched, fabric across the keys, and most important here, one touch open. So balanced and elegantly crafted, you don't need an indentation to move and lift the screen up. No focus group will tell you all these things to get right in a laptop. But it's when you spend time with this and you notice how much more room for improvement laptops really needed before the Surface Laptop and the Surface Laptop 2 came along. Pure Windows. Believe it or not, the strength of the Surface Laptop 2 line is its pure expression of Windows. Every OS needs hardware to complement it. Apple knew that from the start, and today you see it everywhere. The Pixel phone is for Google, the iPhone for iOS, MacBook for macOS, and finally, the Surface Laptop for Windows. The Surface line became what it was by bringing Windows to new fronts, two-in-ones, all-in-ones, but the laptop stands to reinforce Windows' dominance in the desktop world. Okay, time to get to work, Windows productivity. And let's give credit where credit is due. The Pixelsense display, an expectation and beautiful stunning screen, 10-point multi-touch, Windows trackpad drivers, a pen digitizer, all facets that complement the Windows 10 OS experience. But let's remember what it took to get here. For Microsoft to double down and not leave the past desktop OS, but instead to double down when all signs in the market said to leave Win32 apps and head for a mobile-first world. Getting here and why the Surface Laptop really succeeds and transcends in this mobile world. It's 2007, and Apple has revolutionized mobile phones. Computing, namely web browsing, media consumption, will never be the same, and the Windows ecosystems, from its half-baked efforts with Windows Mobile 6.5 on tablets, looks more and more obsolete. Windows Vista fails to gain the same loyal traction as Windows XP. It's 2011, Windows RT releases, followed by new Windows form factors like Nokia Lumia 2520 that only runs Windows RT. Windows RT as an ecosystem suffers from third-party developer support, is scorned on both fronts from legacy users who demand desktop power and apps, and lack of support from higher, touch-friendly intuitiveness, simplicity that the iPhone offers. It's today, and its reign of Google Android and Apple iPhone, a mobile-first, cloud-first world. Laptop makers and OEMs scream for Windows innovations, creating new form factors such as the Yoga. And so what was Windows to do? The laptop, the early sign, the symbol of the early thousands, bulky, clunky, wheezing, slow, aging, and the slow OS versus the fanfare of Apple stores and iPhone launches. What could Windows do? Get with the times. Windows Phone. And it became a hit? Not. Microsoft acquired the Nokia brand, pushed everything it had into the Windows Phone, and it still fell flat to make a dent in the mobile ecosystem. It turns out the solution wasn't to challenge yourself with something new, but to go with the unorthodox and stick with traditional and get things right. Turns out even at the peak of laptop desktop computing, there were still tremendous innovations to improve on. The clamshell laptop form factor wasn't and isn't dead, far from it. It was just waiting for a company to engineer something so functionally beautiful and crafted with a premium, sturdy build. It was waiting for the purest vision of Windows. No gimmicks, no bloatware, no bells and whistles, only where they mattered. In design aesthetics, magnesium chassis, HD Pixelsense beautiful screen, and long battery life. These were things we all just wanted, glaringly obvious in retrospect, but so much easier said than done. And the Surface team was done with this nonsense. So coupled together with the stretches from the OS and the engineering from the Surface team, we have this pure implementation of Windows, which is why I love the Surface Laptop 2 and the Surface Laptop line, and why this laptop is the best laptop of 2018 going on to early 2019. Let's be clear of all the steps that Microsoft had to take to get here. Build a touch-capable, touch-friendly OS, not as the main input but as a complement. Build touch-friendly support in native apps. Build out the Windows Store. Generate legacy support for all those who loved XP, Windows 7, and move away from the miscommunication of Windows RT. Establish a reputation and a brand that focuses on Windows hardware. Enable trust in the Surface line. How many of those landmarks had Microsoft had to hit to make something so complete that seems so simple in today's Surface Laptop 2 line? It is the culmination of all the hits and misses that Windows still had in the soul of modern computing. It's a purest form factor to enter the Windows ecosystem, and every form factor by other OEMs and Surface is the support Windows can do. If it's desktop power for graphic intensive programs, 2-in-1 tablets for portability, a studio for creators and designers, it pushes the ecosystem forward. But the Surface Laptop 2 innovates by getting the laptop experience, what I would argue is the most primary experience for most users, right. Now I need a laptop, pure and simple. And the Surface Laptop is pure and simple, and it turns out that's all they needed. There was so much left to get on the table right, and it finally took us until these last few years to get it right. It's kind of unbelievable. Give me a laptop with no bloatware that I want to type and create in, warm on my palms, bouncy on the keys, and don't make me cringe at the OS. Don't make me notice the battery always dying, and make me just think, hey, this is nice, and I don't know why. Well, because it's so light, because it's so smooth, because it's so beautiful, because it just works. I'm a man of simple taste. I want Windows, I don't want gimmicks, I want it to work. I want it to feel nice. And that's what makes the Surface Laptop so great. A myriad of nearly unexplainable subtleties that laptops never really got right, even at Windows at its greatest, that make this laptop the best of 2018. Microsoft, why did it take so long? Let the mobile fronts and the OSs duke it out. With all their poor implementation of keyboard covers and keyboard attachments, lights, OSs, VR fronts, I'm sticking to my 10 fingers. A clamshell that I can open up, go, and use anywhere, even lying down. I'm keeping it classic and so elegant and premium. We've only scratched the surface of Windows. Thanks for listening, everyone. This is my review of the Surface Laptop 2. Let me know what you guys think of all your different OS and usage factors, how you guys go about browsing the web, consuming your media, which devices you use every day, and which laptops you think are the best of 2018. Comment below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.